Hi, it's Karina. Today I'm making pelmeni. Pelmeni are Russian dumplings filled with meat, and they are the ultimate comfort food. On a cold evening after work, having a bowl of pelmeni, like my daughter said once, it's like having a hug. At the moment, obviously it's not cold by any stretch of imagination. In fact, it's very warm. So I still fancied to make them, and I've decided on the spur of a moment to make a filling out of chicken, which I never tried making pelmeni with chicken before, so it's going to be first time for me. And that would make them a bit lighter, more like suitable for the warm weather, and make kind of summer version of them. This medium chicken, 1.5 kilo, 250 grams very lean pork chops, a couple of onions, fresh parsley and some frozen parsley which I've just took out of freezer, plain flour and 1 egg. Right, one of the reasons I'm making pelmeni with chicken because I need to use this chicken as we are going away soon. So I'm not looking forward to this task, but I need to strip this chicken out of meat and put it through my quite small and not very powerful mini chopper. All the equipment I have here. So wish me luck. I'm finished with the chicken. This is what we have now. A mini chopper is ready, but I think I'm going to make a dough first because it needs a little bit of resting. And while the dough will be resting, we will do filling at that time. Pelmeni dough is extremely simple. 200 ml of water, tap water, 1 egg. I'm not usually bothering with a pinch of salt and stuff like that. Plain flour mixing in, let's see. The later we make our hands messy, the better. It's okay if we even do the dough slightly stiff. It's all right because it will rest a little bit and it will soften up. So it's a good idea always to let your dough rest because it becomes more easier to handle really. So we need to make our hands dirty at this point. There is no other way, unfortunately. I did show in one of my videos how to make a simple dough. So unlike Italian tortellinis and raviolis and stuff like that, very close cousins of pelmeni, they make really an egg dough there, isn't it, in Italy? Here we just using 1 egg, 200 to 250 ml of water. This is the normal ratio. It should take you no more than 5 minutes to make a dough. A cheap flour at the moment, low gluten, because the strong flours, they are more expensive. Strong meaning they have higher gluten content, and of course they're better for you, etc., etc. And they produce more crusty bread, and they're supposed to be all that. But I've noticed when I would use a strong flour, it's much harder to roll because it tends to shrink back. So you're rolling it out and it shrinks back endlessly, so it's quite hard. But when I use that's it, it's ready. But when I use cheap flour, just the cheapest flour there, the dough is very easy to roll. The dough is ready. We just let it rest for at least 15-20 minutes. Keep it covered, of course, at all times. So I'm going to cover it with the same bowl, just like that. And let's do our filling now. Right, my chopper is not really for meat, so I hope it won't let me down. I'll try to chop meat a little bit and do it in small portions. Excellent. Right now parsley and then onions. You don't add any kind of herbs in a pelmeni because it's a dish originating in Siberia, this dish. So adding black pepper, generous amount. And some olive oil. Remember, it's my own version of pelmeni, Siberian pelmeni. Chicken was skinless, lean chicken meat, so we added olive oil to compensate for that, to make them more juicy. Anything can be improved with olive oil. And now give it all a good mix. It's quite a good idea to make occasionally mince yourself. At least you see what kind of meat is there. Like back home, I'm used to buying 5% mince, where we know how much fat is there. Perhaps next time I will do exactly like that, but I would buy some sort of skinless chicken thighs, probably bone. If it's normal filling, which is beef and pork, I would try a little bit to be sure about salt, but raw chicken, I don't think so. So let's just hope I kind of estimated salt correctly. If I would be good, I would use these vodka shots to making the dumplings and make them very small, but I am not that good today. I don't have that much time or inclination today, and believe me, it won't affect the taste. Still going to be very nice. I'm going to use this very big wine glass. Oh, I totally forgot to add this frozen parsley, frozen raw parsley, which if you have excess of herbs, simply just, I should have put it through mini chopper really. Just put them, wash them, stick them in a jar in a freezer. So let's see what's happening to our dough. It's gone much softer, of course, as it should. Excellent, much more pliable. It just literally rested for 30 minutes, I would say. And the last thing which we really need to have at hand, well-floured chopping board normally I would use. I have a selection of them at home. Okay, now we're ready to start. Rolls out beautifully, doesn't want to shrink back, which is a huge nuisance actually when you, like I said, when you use a strong flour, it's a huge nuisance. But on the other hand, you kind of get a more high quality dough, like I said, if you use strong flour. Like this one opens up thicker here, thinner there, it will tear much easier. The dough made out of strong flour, you can roll out very thinly actually, when you manage to roll it eventually, and it won't tear. Make sure it doesn't stick to the surface. Very warm today doesn't help, so keep the surface well floured. Keep kind of lifting your dough. Right, so let's start doing our circles. See, it's very sticky, this dough. Like that. Next to each other, obviously. Right, ideally, in ideal world, I would have some helper, and then it would make sense, make them really small and gorgeous. So we have our little circles now, which we're going to fill with meat, sort of cut-offs. If I will roll them out now, they would be much stiffer, having absorbed some flour from the surface. They would be much stiffer, so I would put them aside, let them soften again, and I will roll them at the end. So keep making sure they did not stick, right? Kind of keep your surface well floured, like that. And like I said, it's really easy because we mixed it well, and it's kind of very pliable feeling. My grandchildren call them UFOs or pigmeni, which I find very funny, and kids adore them, absolutely. Everyone likes them. How can you not like them? Lovely starch. Never happen if you use a strong flour. This one probably will tear when I will be cooking it. Should be more careful. That's because I've put too much filling here. Try not to put too much filling because to close the dumplings would be more difficult. Don't put too little because it won't be nice, of course. Keep your fingers floured at all times. In 5 minutes we've done more or less half a portion, I would say. This one again I overloaded the filling. It's very soft, very pliable dough. We just there, just like that, bring the edges together, make sure they're tightly closed. The beauty of pelmeni, they are very economical as well to make. I mean, my mother-in-law used to feed a family of how many of them? It was 6, family of 6, which included 3 very large men, very economically, and with those pelmenis, and obviously they are very tasty, and you can stretch the meat very far with them. I can't believe how fast I'm doing because of that huge size. Right, they freeze beautifully. I have a chest freezer at home, and I literally fill the boards and just put them in a chest freezer. And once they are solidly frozen, I just transfer them to the plastic bag. And you can keep them for months like that, and you always have something nice in a freezer, something nice to come home to. So make sure they do not touch each other on this board. And I've got to work quickly because being so warm in the room, that's why it's a winter dish really. They might want to stick to the board, that's why I'm putting extra flour here. But we should fill this board in no time and probably put it to the freezer for now. Make sure your fingers are well floured and just bring the edges together just like that. Stretch your dough as you go. Make sure, this is quite crucial, you pinch them well, close the ends well, which is easy as dough is very soft, very easy, very sticky. There, that's a good one. Otherwise they will open when you cook them. Make them like that. They're huge pelmenis, probably 3 times bigger than they should be. Mind you, last time I made pelmeni of that size, I had a lot of complaints, but never mind. My mother-in-law used to make them in hundreds, because I know, because she liked to count them, and she would make them like 600, God knows how many hundreds, sitting there cozily in the kitchen. It's quite therapeutic if you have time and inclination on a rainy day. So as you can see, they are not hard to make, especially if you're not scared of making dough. They are time consuming, yes, but there should be at least some sort of disadvantage. Otherwise they're tasty, they're economical, very convenient to have them in a freezer. So I really have few boards at hand, cutting boards or some sort of trays at hand. Normally I have, say, 3-4 on a go. So as the tray is ready, I put it in my chest freezer, which is very easy. Just plonk it in, and by the time, the second tray again in a freezer, third tray, more than often the first tray is already frozen, so I free it. So you cook them just like pasta, in plenty of water, with reasonable amount of salt. Probably I'll cook around 9 of them. That's a good amount. Reduce it to low simmer. We want it to boil, but not too fast. And one more for good luck. You just need to do it once. As the water comes to the boil, it's still not boiling at the moment. Gently separate them like that from the bottom of the pan so they won't catch. Just a few words as I am waiting for pelmeni to cook. I'm not tidying up because I'm going to make more in a minute once I finish filming. So the normal pelmeni, normal I would say when I make them normally, they should contain some pork. This is my experience. Lean pork, but still pork. Otherwise they're not tasty, because I always buy 5% mince, 5% fat content mince. And at some point I remember I used to make it just for the sake of healthiness and etc. I was making just with this 5% beef, and they were not tasty at all. I still make them with 5% mince, but I'm adding to that equal amount, 50-50, of lean pork mince. Then it's delicious, and obviously you add your onions and black pepper. Nice bowl of pelmeni, followed by gym, half an hour of cardio in gym. Perfection. We can definitely try one and see. Good stuff. Of course, I could have cooked them in chicken stock. Serve them with chicken stock. I normally don't do that, but why not? Some sour cream on the side and some olive oil, or ideally it should be butter, of course. I like to eat them with mustard, a little bit of mustard too, like Dijon kind of mild mustard.